I always thought I had my life figured out. Simple, predictable, no drama. But that all went out the window the day Liam moved in. Let me back up. My name's Aiden. I'm 24, a freelance photographer living in Chicago. Life was fine, quiet, steady. I shared this 2-bedroom apartment with my best friend, Matt. We've known each other since freshman year of college. Matt's the outgoing, party all weekend type. I'm not. I'm more of a grab coffee and edit photos till 2 a.m. type. We worked as roommates because we knew each other's rhythms. We respected boundaries. No surprises. Until Liam showed up. Liam's Matt's younger brother. 22. Freshly graduated and suddenly in need of a place to crash after his job offer fell through and his lease ended at the same time. When Matt first asked me, it was supposed to be temporary. 2 weeks, tops, he said, scrolling through his phone while nursing a beer on the couch. 2 weeks? I raised an eyebrow. You sure about that? Yeah, he just needs time to figure stuff out. I sighed. Fine, just tell him not to be weird. Matt laughed. Bro, he's the least weird person you'll ever meet. Yeah. Famous last words. The day Liam moved in, I opened the front door expecting a kid in disheveled clothes with suitcases. Instead, I got hit with, well, let's just say my expectations did a 180. Liam had grown up. Like, a lot. 6'1", lean with broad shoulders, shaggy dark hair, and these ridiculous hazel eyes that caught the light like honey. He had a duffel bag slung over one shoulder, a guitar case in one hand, and this easy grin that made my stomach do something I didn't really appreciate. Hey, he said, his voice deeper than I remembered. Long time, huh? Yeah, I managed, stepping aside. Come in. Matt strolled out of his room, grinning. Yo, about time. You made good time. Yeah, no traffic. Liam dropped his stuff by the couch and gave Matt a quick bro hug. Then his gaze flicked back to me. Hope this isn't too much trouble. Nah. It's fine. I shoved my hands into my pockets. We'll figure it out. The first couple days were harmless. Liam kept to himself, mostly unpacking and applying for jobs online. We were polite, casual. But then, things started to shift. It was the small stuff at first, like the way he always walked around the apartment shirtless in the mornings, towel slung low on his hips, hair still damp from the shower. I'd be pouring coffee, pretending not to stare, but yeah, good luck with that. Or the way he'd lounge on the couch late at night, strumming his guitar absent-mindedly, humming under his breath while scrolling job listings on his laptop. It didn't help that Matt worked late most nights, bartending at this place downtown, which meant it was often just me and Liam in the apartment. And that's when it started getting complicated. It was a Thursday night. Matt was on a double shift. I was editing photos in the living room, and Liam plopped down on the opposite end of the couch, nursing a beer, his laptop balanced on his knees. For a while, we worked in comfortable silence. Then Liam glanced over. You ever think about quitting? I blinked. Quitting what? Everything. Your job. The hustle. Just ditching it all and moving somewhere quiet. I laughed. Every day. But, rent. Liam chuckled, leaning back, stretching his arms over his head, his shirt riding up just enough to expose a strip of toned stomach. I tried not to look. Failed. Then, completely out of nowhere, he asked, You ever think about how weird it is, living with someone, sharing a space? Boundaries get blurry. I set my laptop aside, narrowing my eyes. What do you mean? He shrugged, swirling the beer in his hand. Like, I don't know. You get close. You notice things you didn't before. Stuff you probably shouldn't. There was a flicker in his gaze. A challenge, maybe, or something else. Something heavier. I swallowed. Yeah, I guess. A beat passed. Tension stretched thin, tight like a rubber band. Then Liam smiled, shaking his head like he was brushing it off. Sorry, that sounded weirder than I meant it. Nah, you're good, I said, forcing a laugh. Philosophical beer talk. I get it. Yeah, he grinned, standing and stretching again. Anyway, I'm gonna crash. Night, Aiden. Night. I watched him walk down the hall to Matt's old room, his temporary room now, and realized my hands were trembling slightly. It was subtle, but something had shifted, and I had a feeling this was only the beginning. The weird tension after that night didn't go away. If anything, it got thicker, heavier, like something hanging in the air between us that neither of us wanted to name, but neither of us could ignore. It started showing up in little moments. Stupid things, really, like the way Liam would stand a little too close when we were both in the kitchen. No reason for it, plenty of counter space, but he'd still brush past me, chest grazing my shoulder, arm brushing mine. He never said anything about it. Just acted like it was nothing, but his eyes would flick up to mine afterward, holding my gaze a second too long. Or how he started hanging out in the living room way more when Matt wasn't around. Sometimes doing nothing, just scrolling his phone, watching dumb YouTube videos, strumming his guitar while I worked. I told myself it didn't mean anything. I told myself I was imagining it. But then came the hoodie incident. It was a Saturday morning. Matt had pulled an all-nighter bartending and was still dead asleep in his room. I stumbled into the kitchen, bleary-eyed, looking for coffee. I wasn't even paying attention until I looked up and realized Liam was already there, wearing one of my hoodies. Not Matt's. Mine. It was my favorite one, too. Black, a little oversized, worn soft from years of washes. I froze, blinking. Is that mine? Liam looked down at himself like he was surprised, even though he absolutely wasn't. Oh yeah, I grabbed it off the couch last night. Hope that's cool. I opened my mouth. Closed it. Yeah, sure, no big deal. But it was a big deal. Because seeing him in it? Yeah, that did something to me I wasn't prepared for. He grinned, completely unbothered, turning back to the stove where he was frying eggs. You want some? I stood there like an idiot, watching him move around my kitchen like he belonged there, like this was totally normal. His hair was messy, curling a little at the ends, and his legs were bare under the hoodie, just a pair of black boxer briefs. The way the morning light hit him. Yeah, it was unfair. Yeah, sure. We ate together at the counter, chatting about random stuff. His job hunt, my latest photography gig, the weather, normal stuff. Except every now and then, I'd catch him watching me. Not in a casual way. Not the way you glance at someone mid-conversation. No. His gaze lingered, like he was studying me. Testing me. Later that day, Matt woke up and joined us, and just like that, the tension snapped back into hiding. But it was there. I felt it. It only got worse that night. Matt had a date, which meant, once again, Liam and I were alone. I was curled up on the couch, laptop on my knees, half watching Netflix while editing some shots from a client shoot. Liam dropped down next to me with a heavy sigh, scrolling TikTok on his phone. God, he groaned. If I see one more how to ace your job interview video, I'm gonna lose it, I smirked. It's the algorithm, you've cursed yourself. Apparently. He tossed his phone onto the coffee table, stretched his arms behind his head, and then, without warning, his legs slid sideways, right over mine. I glanced down. My legs are tired, he said, totally deadpan. I blinked. You have an entire couch. Yeah, but you're warmer. He grinned, like it was the most obvious thing in the world. I stared at him, trying to decide if he was messing with me, but he wasn't looking away. His eyes were on mine, steady, unreadable. Is this like a brotherly thing? I asked, trying to make it sound like a joke. Is that what you want it to be? His voice dropped. Just a little. My pulse tripped. I swallowed, looking back at my laptop like it could save me. I don't know. Silence stretched. The air between us felt electric. Then Liam shifted again, closer this time, his legs pressed against mine. Not by accident. Definitely not by accident. "Do you remember," he said softly, voice lower now, "when we were younger, back when you'd come over to Matt's house all the time?" "Yeah?" "I used to get annoyed, because you and Matt would hang out and I always wanted to tag along." I smiled despite myself. "Yeah, you were the annoying little brother," Liam chuckled. "Yeah, maybe, but I think it was more than that. I think I just liked being around you." My breath hitched. "Liam!" He didn't move. "I'm not trying to make things weird," he said, voice softer now. "But I don't know. I feel like this isn't just me imagining it, right?" I sat there, frozen, my heart pounding so loud I was sure he could hear it. Because he wasn't wrong. He absolutely wasn't wrong. I don't know what to say," I managed. Liam's gaze softened. "You don't have to say anything. I just wanted you to know." For a second, neither of us moved. Then he pulled his legs back slowly, stood up, and gave me a small smile. "Anyway, I'm gonna crash." And just like that, he disappeared down the hall, leaving me sitting there, staring at my laptop screen like it could explain what the hell just happened. But it couldn't. Because I knew, deep down, nothing about this was going to be simple anymore. The next morning felt off. Not bad, not tense. Just like the air was heavier. I woke up way earlier than usual, not because I wanted to, but because I couldn't stop replaying last night in my head. Liam's voice. The way he'd said, "I just liked being around you." That wasn't nothing. That wasn't casual. I laid in bed, staring at the ceiling for a solid half hour before I heard movement from the kitchen. Pots clinking, cabinets opening. "Liam." I threw on a hoodie, because God knows I needed something to feel normal, and stepped out. There he was, barefoot, pajama pants hanging loose on his hips, hair a total mess. He was scrambling eggs like nothing had happened, like the night before hadn't completely detonated my brain. "Morning," he said, glancing over with that same easy grin, not flirty, not tense, just like always, normal. "Morning," I echoed, scratching the back of my neck. I poured coffee, trying to act cool, but my hand was trembling just enough that I had to focus on not spilling it. I sat down at the counter while he finished cooking. For a moment, it was quiet, just the sound of the pan sizzling. Then Liam broke it. "So, about last night." My stomach did a backflip. I gripped my coffee mug like it was a lifeline. "Yeah?" Liam sighed, pushing scrambled eggs onto a plate. "I didn't mean to make things awkward. He paused, setting the plate in front of me. "I don't know. I didn't want to keep pretending like I didn't notice. Stuff." I blinked. "Stuff?" His lips twitched. "Yeah, stuff. Like how sometimes you pretend not to look when I walk around shirtless, or how you always sit on the far side of the couch like you're afraid of something." My face went up in flames. "I do not. You do." He cut me off, leaning against the counter, crossing his arms. "And honestly, I do it too." I blinked. "Wait, what?" "Yeah." His gaze was steady, softer than I expected. "Aiden, you're not the only one." I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. Closed it, opened it again. Still nothing. My brain was short-circuiting. Liam rubbed the back of his neck. "Look, I'm not saying this has to be anything, but I figured maybe it's time to stop pretending it's not there." I stared at him. Really stared. The lazy smile, the messy hair, the way his eyes softened when they met mine. And for the first time, I let myself admit it. Yeah, it was there. It had always been there. I don't even know what to say," I muttered. "You don't have to say anything." His voice was quiet. "I just wanted to be honest." Before I could think too hard about it, my body decided for me. I stood up, heart hammering, hands shaking, and crossed the kitchen until I was right in front of him. Liam blinked, startled. "Aiden." I didn't even realize what I was doing until I was already there. until my hand was on the side of his neck, fingers brushing against his skin. We were close. Too close. I don't want to pretend either, I whispered. For a second, neither of us breathed. Then, almost like we were synced without even realizing it, Liam tilted his head forward. His nose brushed mine. Soft. Careful. Testing the space between us. And then it happened. His lips pressed against mine, tentative at first, like he wasn't sure. Like he was giving me a chance to back away. I didn't. I kissed him back. Slow, cautious, but real. So real. His hands found my waist, fingers curling into the fabric of my hoodie. My own hand slid up into his hair, tugging gently, feeling the way his breath hitched against my lips. It wasn't desperate. It wasn't rushed. It was right. When we finally pulled apart, both of us breathing a little harder than before, Liam let out a soft laugh. Well, guess that's a thing now, I laughed, a little breathless. Yeah, definitely a thing, he grinned, bumping his forehead against mine. Took you long enough. I shoved his shoulder playfully. Me? You were the one walking around half naked for weeks. Hey, he smirked. Not my fault. You have no self-control. Oh, you're... I started, but then a sudden sound froze both of us. Matt's bedroom door creaked open. We sprang apart like two teenagers getting caught. Matt stumbled out, hair a mess, rubbing his eyes. Morning? Why are you two? He paused, squinting. Why are you both red? You guys fighting or something? Nope, Liam chirped way too quickly. Just eggs. Hot eggs. Matt blinked. Okay? He wandered to the bathroom and shut the door. The second the door clicked, Liam burst out laughing, face buried in my shoulder. Oh my God, I groaned, covering my face. We're so bad at this. Yup, Liam chuckled, pressing a quick kiss to my cheek. But honestly, I don't care. Neither did I. Not even a little. The rest of the morning was weird, but in the best possible way. Every time Liam caught my eye, that stupid grin would creep onto his face, the kind that made my stomach flip in the most annoying, perfect way. And every time Matt walked back into the room, both of us would suddenly pretend to be deeply invested in completely normal roommate things. Hey, where's the almond milk? Liam asked, way too loudly, pretending to rummage through the fridge even though he was holding it in his hand. I stifled a laugh, pretending to scroll my phone. Maybe check. I don't know the fridge? Oh, right. He shot me a subtle side-eye, fighting back a smirk. Matt wandered past us, totally oblivious, half asleep, mumbling something about how we were both weird. He grabbed a granola bar and retreated back into his room without even noticing the storm brewing right under his nose. As soon as Matt's door clicked shut, Liam spun around and grinned. We are so bad at this. You think? I laughed, dropping my phone onto the counter. We're terrible liars. He stepped closer, hands sliding around my waist like it was the most natural thing in the world, lowering his voice to a whisper. Good thing we're not going to have to lie for long. I raised a brow. Yeah? And what exactly does that mean? He shrugged, biting back a smile. I don't know. Maybe it means I'm not planning to pretend this didn't happen. I swallowed, my chest tightening, but not in a bad way. Yeah, same. Then his lips were on mine again. Quick, soft, but no less electric. I gripped the front of his hoodie. Well, my hoodie he was still wearing, and pulled him just a little closer. When he pulled back, his smile was softer. So like, what do we do now? I mean, technically you're still my best friend's little brother, I said, teasing. He smirked. Yeah, but like, barely. Oh yeah, you're so mature now. Damn right. He winked. You kissed me, remember? You kissed me first. Mutual ambush, he corrected, nodding seriously. I laughed, resting my forehead against his. Yeah, mutual ambush. We stood like that for a moment, breathing each other in, feeling how easy it was now. The tension that had built for weeks, the thing we'd both been dancing around, had finally snapped, and it was honestly kind of perfect. The weird part was pretending nothing had changed whenever Matt was around. That afternoon, the three of us ended up watching a movie together. Some ridiculous action flick that Matt insisted was so bad it's good. Liam and I sat on opposite ends of the couch, pretending to focus on the screen. But every time Matt wasn't looking, Liam would glance over and smirk, or subtly brush his knee against mine. At one point, when Matt got up to grab snacks, Liam reached over, squeezed my ankle, and mouthed, "Later." It shouldn't have sent a shockwave through my chest, but it did. When Matt came back, we both snapped back to totally not suspicious mode. "So," Matt said, tossing a bag of popcorn onto the coffee table, "you two seem weird today." I coughed. "What? No. We're fine." "Super fine," Liam added way too quickly. Matt squinted. "Are you guys high?" Liam almost choked laughing. "No! Dude, no!" Matt shrugged, clearly too lazy to care. "Whatever. You guys are being freaks." The second his attention went back to the movie, Liam leaned his head against the back of the couch and mouthed, "We're so bad at this." Later that night, after Matt went to bed, clueless as ever, I was in my room finishing some photo edits when there was a soft knock at the door. "Yeah?" I called, already knowing. The door cracked open. Liam leaned against the frame, arms crossed, grinning like the cocky little menace he was. "Hey," he said casually, like he wasn't standing there in just sweatpants and that same hoodie, hair messy, eyes soft. "Hey," I replied, trying to act cooler than I felt. He slipped inside, closed the door quietly behind him, and crossed the room like he owned it. "Miss me?" I rolled my eyes, biting back a smile. "You saw me like an hour ago." "Yeah," he said, stepping closer. "But that was the we can't do anything because Matt's around version." I spun my desk chair toward him. "Oh yeah. And what version is this?" "This is the we can absolutely do something now version." I swallowed. "Yeah?" "Yeah, you know," he murmured between kisses. This was definitely not what Matt had in mind when he said I could crash here. I laughed, pulling him closer. "Yeah, well, sucks for Matt." "Or," Liam said, grinning against my lips, "he has excellent matchmaking instincts and doesn't even know it." "Sure, let's go with that." It's funny how quickly something goes from terrifying to addictive. Eventually, he pulled back just enough to rest his forehead against mine. Both of us were breathing hard, grinning like idiots. "You good?" he asked, voice soft but teasing. "Yeah," I laughed, still gripping his hips. "Are you?" Never better. Neither of us moved for a second. We just sat there, tangled together, like the world outside didn't exist. Then he shifted, scooting back a little on my thighs. "You realize," he said, voice dropping, "this is gonna be complicated." "Yeah," I nodded, trailing my fingers up his back. "Very. We should probably tell Matt." "Yeah," I sighed. "But like, later, right?" He grinned, leaning down to brush a soft kiss against my lips. "Definitely later." The next few days were chaos. Not bad chaos. Just sneaky chaos. It became this weird game, navigating being normal roommates when Matt was around, and then becoming whatever this was when he wasn't. Secret glances, stolen touches in the hallway, quiet kisses when Matt was in the shower. Like the night Liam slid onto the couch next to me while we were watching some dumb cooking competition with Matt. Totally casual, totally normal. Except his hand was under the blanket, resting on my thigh. Just sitting there, warm, solid. A reminder that, yeah, this wasn't in my head. This was real. Every now and then, he'd brush his thumb back and forth over the fabric of my jeans. Subtle enough that Matt never noticed, but enough to set my brain on fire. Then there was the morning Liam walked past me in the kitchen, trailing his fingers across my lower back like it was nothing, and whispered, "Missed you last night." Matt strolled in right after, completely oblivious, yawning, and asking if anyone wanted coffee. It was reckless. It was stupid. It was also the most alive I'd felt in years. But eventually, the bubble had to pop. It happened on a random Thursday. Matt had an overnight shift at the bar. Liam and I spent the whole evening on the couch. Movies, pizza, and way less personal space than two roommates should ever have. At one point, he shifted, slinging his legs over mine like it was the most natural thing in the world. His head ended up on my shoulder, fingers tracing lazy circles on my forearm. "You're comfortable," he mumbled. "Yeah?" I smiled, brushing my knuckles along his knee. "You too." Neither of us moved for a while. The movie played. We didn't care. Then Liam tilted his head up, caught my jaw with his fingers, and kissed me. Slow, sweet, unhurried. And of course, that's the exact moment the front door opened. Matt's voice echoed down the hall. "Yo, I forgot my..." Silence. Liam and I both froze, lips still basically touching. Matt stood in the doorway, keys in hand, mouth open. It was like the universe itself hit pause. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. Then Matt blinked, slowly lowering the keys. "Ugh." Liam sat up, clearing his throat but not moving off my lap. "So, hey." Matt blinked again. "Hey?" I opened my mouth, closed it. "This, isn't what it looks like." Matt squinted. "Dude, it's exactly what it looks like." Liam snorted, hiding his face against my shoulder. "Yeah, okay, fair." Matt rubbed the back of his neck. "Sue, how long?" I winced. "A bit," Liam chimed in, grinning now. "Define bit," Matt groaned, flopping his head back. "Oh my God, you guys, seriously?" There was a pause. A long, painful pause. Then, to my absolute shock, Matt just laughed. Full on laughed. Honestly, I was wondering when one of you was gonna make a move. I blinked. "Wait, what?" "Dude, you think I didn't notice the tension?" Matt shook his head, chuckling as he grabbed the keys he came back for. "You two have been orbiting each other since the day Liam moved in." Liam blinked. "So, you're not mad?" "Nah." Matt shrugged, heading for the door. "Just, don't be gross about it in the common areas, okay?" "Deal," Liam grinned. Matt pointed as he opened the door. "Also, if I ever hear either of you, I'm moving out." "Fair," I laughed. And just like that, the door shut behind him. Silence again. Then Liam turned, eyes wide, grin spreading. "Well, that went way better than I expected." "Yeah," I breathed, letting out the laugh that had been stuck in my chest. "Way better," he grinned, leaning in to kiss me again. Guess we're not a secret anymore. Guess not. And you know what? I didn't mind one bit. After that night, after Matt caught us and somehow didn't freak out, everything shifted. Like someone had taken the tension that had been quietly simmering for weeks and finally just popped the bubble. No more sneaking around. No more hiding glances or secret touches when Matt wasn't looking. That didn't mean things got less intense. Actually, they got worse. In the best possible way. Like that Saturday morning, I was sitting at the kitchen table editing photos. Headphones in, totally zoned out. I didn't even hear Liam until hands slid onto my shoulders, fingers squeezing just enough to make me jump. "Jesus!" I yelped, yanking my headphones off. "Relax," Liam laughed, leaning down, pressing a kiss to the side of my neck. "It's just me." "Yeah, well, warn a guy." I tried to sound annoyed, but it was impossible with him pressed against me like that. He smirked, wrapping his arms around my shoulders, chin resting on top of my head. "What you working on?" "Client shoot. Couple wanted, like vintage film-style engagement photos." Cute. His fingers tapped against my chest absent-mindedly. You know, we should do that. Do what? I asked, half distracted by his hands, now lazily drawing shapes over my shirt. Photos, he said, lips brushing against my ear. You and me. Like, couple photos? Yeah, like soft lighting, cozy sweaters. One of those stupid Pinterest boards come to life. I laughed, tilting my head back to glance up at him. Oh, so now we're basic? Absolutely, he grinned. Disgustingly basic. I don't know, I pretended to think. I don't know if you can pull off cozy sweater vibes. Oh, really? Liam smirked, walking around to straddle the bench next to me, tugging on the collar of my hoodie. Bold words for someone whose hoodie I'm currently stealing. Again. Again, he agreed, shameless. I chuckled, shaking my head. All right, fine. You want a couple's photo shoot? You got it. Good. His hand slid over mine, fingers intertwining, squeezing gently. Because I kinda like the sound of that. It was quiet for a moment. Soft. Weirdly soft, actually. I glanced down at our hands, thumb brushing over his knuckles, realizing how natural it felt, like we'd been doing this for months. Years, even. Me too, I admitted quietly. That evening, Matt walked in on us again. Not kissing this time, just lying on the couch. I was half sprawled against Liam's chest, legs tangled. His arm draped lazily over my stomach while we scrolled through TikTok. Matt paused in the doorway, stared for a second, then sighed. God, you guys are so gross now. Liam grinned. Jealous? Matt rolled his eyes. In what world? Liam smirked, squeezing me tighter. You wish you had this. I have literally never wanted anything less, Matt deadpanned, heading toward the fridge. I tried to hide my laugh against Liam's shoulder, but it was pointless. Matt opened the fridge, grabbed a soda, then turned back. You know what? Honestly, this is fine, as long as I don't walk in on anything traumatic. We're good. Noted, I chuckled. Matt pointed at us with the soda can. And for the record, I totally called this months ago. You did not, Liam shot back. I absolutely did, Matt grinned. The tension was unbearable. Peft. Liam rolled his eyes. You were just mad we kept beating you at Mario Kart. Matt popped the soda open. Also true. The weirdest part was how normal it started to feel. Liam wasn't Matt's little brother anymore. He wasn't even my roommate anymore. He was just mine, my person, my stupid, charming, endlessly annoying, gorgeous person. There were lazy mornings making pancakes together, where he'd slide behind me, arms around my waist, chin on my shoulder, asking if we should add chocolate chips like it was some life-altering decision. There were late nights editing photos while he played guitar in the background, singing under his breath just loud enough to drive me insane, in the best way. There were random Target runs where he'd grab my hand in the middle of the frozen foods aisle like it was the most normal thing in the world, not even noticing the way my heart would absolutely combust every time. And somewhere between the morning coffees, the midnight laughter, and the constant teasing, it hit me. I was so stupidly in love with this guy. The realization hit one night when we were sitting on the rooftop of our building. No reason, just because. Liam had dragged me up there with 2 beers and a blanket, claiming we needed to be dramatic and look at the stars. We sat there, leaning against each other, watching the city lights flicker below. Liam nudged me. Hey. Yeah? He scratched the back of his neck, suddenly nervous. I really like you, like, a lot. My chest squeezed. I turned, smiling. Yeah? Yeah, he said, barely looking at me. Just felt like you should know. I reached over, cupping his jaw, turning his face toward mine. I like you too, a lot. His lips curved into the softest smile. Good. I leaned in, kissed him. Slow, sweet, like we had all the time in the world. And honestly, we did. By the time October rolled around, everything about our lives had changed, but also kind of hadn't. On the outside, we were still the same. Roommates, best friends, pizza on Fridays, Mario Kart trash talk with Matt, and movie nights. But under all that was this thing between me and Liam. This quiet, steady pulse of something solid, real, and way deeper than I ever expected when he first dragged his duffel bag into our apartment. The more time passed, the easier it was to forget we ever tried pretending it wasn't there. Except, one thing kept hanging over us. Liam still didn't have a long-term job. He'd been freelancing some stuff online, doing tutoring gigs here and there. But every now and then, late at night, I'd catch him staring at his laptop, jaw tense, eyes unfocused. It was one of those nights. I walked into the living room after brushing my teeth, found him sitting cross-legged on the couch, hoodie half zipped, bathed in the soft glow of his laptop screen. "You good?" I asked, patting over. He startled slightly, but tried to play it off with a grin. "Yeah, just job hunting. Again." I flopped down beside him, tucking one leg under the other. "Anything good?" EH. "A few maybes. A lot of thanks, but no thanks." He leaned his head back, closing his eyes. "It's fine. I'll figure it out." I nudged his knee with mine. "Hey, you will." He opened one eye, smirking. "You sound awfully confident." "That's because I'm right." Liam chuckled, leaning sideways until his head rested against my shoulder. "You're annoyingly optimistic." "Yup." We sat there quietly for a minute. Then he shifted, pulling his knees up to his chest. "Hey, can I ask you something kind of serious?" I tensed slightly. "Yeah, of course." His fingers toyed with the sleeve of his hoodie. "Like, do you ever think about the future?" "Yeah," I blinked. "Like, what part of it?" "Like, us." Oh, my heart kicked up. "Yeah, I do," he nodded, chewing his lip. "It's just, I don't know. I've been thinking, once I get something steady, I could maybe not move out." I turned to look at him fully. "Wait, what?" "I mean, I know it started as me crashing here temporarily, but it doesn't really feel like temporary anymore. Not to me." I stared, trying to process the words that were somehow both terrifying and the single best thing I'd heard in months. "You want to stay?" I asked quietly. His face flushed, but his smile was soft. "Yeah. Like, for real. Not because I have to, because I want to." My throat tightened. "Yeah, me too." Liam let out a breath that sounded half laugh, half relief. "Cool. Yeah, okay." Then he shifted again, swinging one leg over so he was straddling my lap, hands resting on my shoulders. You sure you're okay with that?" I laughed, gripping his hips. "Liam, you've been living here for months. You basically live in my hoodies. You leave your guitar everywhere. You already take up half the bed most nights. I think the decision was made a long time ago." His grin widened. "Yeah? Yeah." His hands slid up into my hair, tugging lightly. "Cool. Guess you're stuck with me then." "Guess so." He leaned in, kissed me. Slow, deep, fingers tightening in my hair like he didn't ever plan to let go. And honestly, I didn't want him to. A few days later, we made it official. We were sitting at the kitchen table, half joking about it over pancakes, when Liam pulled out his phone, looked me dead in the eye, and said, "So, should we change our Facebook statuses or what?" I nearly choked on my coffee. "Are we really doing this like it's 2010? He grinned. "Absolutely. And yeah, we did. We changed them. In a relationship." Matt noticed about 5 minutes later. His text popped up instantly. Took you guys long enough. Also, don't make it weird when I bring dates home. Love you both, you psychos. That night, as Liam and I curled up in bed, his head tucked under my chin, his fingers tracing lazy lines over my ribs, I realized something that hit me harder than it should have. This wasn't temporary. Not even close. This was it. This was home. Him. Us. This dumb, perfect, unexpected thing that started when Matt's little brother moved in and turned into the best thing that's ever happened to me. Life after that felt different. Not in some huge, dramatic way, just better. It's funny how something as simple as a label, boyfriend, can change everything while also changing absolutely nothing. We were still us, still teasing each other over who left dishes in the sink, still fighting over the thermostat, still battling for Mario Kart supremacy. But now there were things like waking up tangled together most mornings, texting each other dumb memes from opposite sides of the couch, quick kisses while cooking breakfast, him pulling me into his arms without saying a word when I was stressed. Liam wasn't just Matt's brother anymore. He was mine. One evening, after a long day of shooting for a client, I came home to the smell of something burning. My stomach dropped. I threw open the door. Liam? Yeah, it's fine. His voice called from the kitchen. It was absolutely not fine. Smoke was billowing from the oven. What did you do? I choked, coughing as I opened the window. I tried to make lasagna, he muttered, waving a dish towel at the smoke detector. And maybe accidentally used wax paper instead of baking paper. I stared at him, then burst out laughing. Dude, no. Look, in my defense, he paused. Yeah, no, I got nothing. I grabbed his face, kissed his forehead, and sighed. You're lucky you're cute. He grinned, arms sliding around my waist. You really think I'm cute? Tragically, he leaned in, pressing his lips to mine, soft and slow. Then I guess I don't need to learn how to cook. Oh no, you definitely do, I chuckled. You're not getting out of it that easy. Later that night, after we ordered pizza to replace the disaster lasagna, we sat on the balcony wrapped in a shared blanket, watching the city lights. Liam shifted beside me, head resting on my shoulder. Hey! You ever think how weird this is? How it all started? I smiled. Yeah, all the time. Like, I moved in thinking it was temporary, and now I don't think I could ever imagine not living with you. My throat tightened in that way it always did when he got soft on me. Yeah, same. He sat up a little, just enough to look me in the eyes. I know this wasn't the plan for either of us, but it's kind of the best thing that's ever happened to me. My heart squeezed. Yeah, me too. Then, without thinking, the word slipped out. So easy, so natural, it almost startled me. I love you. Liam blinked. For half a second, his face went slack with surprise. And then the biggest, dumbest grin spread across his face. Yeah? He whispered. Yeah. He laughed, a little shaky, a little breathless. I love you too. God, I love you so much. And then he kissed me like he was never gonna stop. It wasn't perfect. Some days we bickered about dumb stuff. Some days we got on each other's nerves. But every night, without fail, we ended up curled together in the same bed. His hand on my chest, mine tangled in his hair, breathing in sync like the stupid, hopelessly in love idiots we were. The guy who was supposed to crash on my couch for 2 weeks? Yeah. He became my home.